Earlier this morning, the world of professional wrestling lost another living legend of the business. Today, the wrestling world is mourning the passing of James Harry Neidhart, better known to wrestling fans as Jim the Anvil Neidhart. He was 63 years old. Hello, friends, and welcome to another edition of Ridiculously Raw. I am Anthony Florio, joined as always by good old MF Michael Fletcher, Twisted Angel Dee Dee Woodson. Um, Fortunately, Michael Bullock will not be joining us this evening um, because of a special commitment on his end. So, will not be joining us this evening. He has said that he will be on the next Cerebral Smack Talk. MF will set the table for that at the end of the show. But before we get into what was, for the first time in a very long time, I can't believe I'm saying this, an actual good episode of Monday Night Raw. Wow, color me surprised. Um, we're going to do what we always do when a living legend of the business passes away. We're going to take a moment and pay our respects to that living legend. And that living legend, of course, was Jim the Anvil Neidhart, our own Imperial Grand Poobah himself, Derek Ferrera. He was the one who reported the news on his Facebook page around 11 or so this morning. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie when I say this one hits very close to home for me because, it's well documented that I am one of the biggest marks, if not the biggest mark of the Hart family there is. I mean, I know Dee Dee Woodson is just as big a mark as I am, and I know MF has his respects as well. But when you think Jim the Anvil Neidhart, you think the Hart Foundation. You see the photo right there. I mean, I still can't fathom it. I mean, these things happen out of nowhere, and man, just hard. But but here's what we do know. According to TMZ, his wife Ellie told investigators that Jim was having problems sleeping and got out of bed to adjust the thermostat. Ellie then said that as Neidhart went to touch it, he turned quote unquote weirdly as if he was about to dance, then fell into the wall and ground. She immediately dialed 911, believing he was having a seizure, something he had been taking medication for, had a 4-inch gash on his face when the EMTs arrived. And then, according to the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, the fall was his fatal cause of death. He was 63 years old. I mean, what else is there to say? It's so sad. I mean, I did not even see that coming, but it happened, and he was. You saw the wonderful tribute that WWE did for him on tonight's Monday Night Raw. I mean, he excelled in track and field and the shot put, especially where he set a high school record from 1973 to 85, and then he pursued an NFL career. He played with the Oakland Raiders and the Dallas Cowboys in practices and preseason games. And then when he was released by the Cowboys, he went to train with Stu Hart in Calgary. Of course, was a part of the Stampede Wrestling from '78 up until '83, and then again in '85. During that time, he married one of the Hart sisters, Ellie Hart, with who he had 3 daughters. Of course, we know one of them happens to be current women's evolution mainstay Natalia. Of course, 2 other daughters named Jenny and Muffy, and you know, it's sad. I mean, you think of his wrestling career. I mean, the Stampede Wrestling, and then he also worked with New Japan Pro Wrestling, worked with Georgia Championship Wrestling, and then he came to the WWE in '85, and you know, he actually had a cowboy gimmick. Um, and Bret Hart did not like his gimmick whatsoever, and he went to Vince and says, "I want to form a tag team with Jim." And they were called the Hart Foundation, managed by the Mouth of the South Jimmy Hart. Became 2-time tag team champions. Of course, they made their pay-per-view debut as part of WrestleMania 2, the infamous Battle Royal, the NFL and Superstar Battle Royal. and they won 2 tag team championships. First as a heel tandem in early 1987 on an episode of Superstars of Wrestling over the British Bulldogs. Held them for several months, about 8 or so months, before they dropped into the Strike Force. And then they wouldn't see the titles again until SummerSlam 1990 when they defeated Demolition in that epic 2 out of 3 falls match. The only bright spot on what was otherwise a god awful SummerSlam. I mean, maybe the worst of all time. And then, of course, after the Hart Foundation, after they disbanded and Bret became the megastar that he became, he formed the new tag team called the New Foundation with another brother-in-law, of course, another late great, Owen Hart. And, they did that for a couple months, and then he left and then went to ECW, went to New Japan, and then WCW, and then he came back to the WWE in '94 as part of an angle where he came out with Bret for that title match against Diesel. But then he helped Owen Hart win the King of the Ring, and then he turned heel, and then he sided with Owen during the feud with Bret, and that epic cage match, who will ever forget it, one of the greatest matches in SummerSlam history. And then he became a masked man named Who, which we will not really talk about. And then, of course, in '97, they formed the new Hart Foundation. I mean, man, were they fun to watch. I will not lie. I had a lot of fun with those guys. The Hitman, the Anvil, Owen, the British Bulldog, Brian Pillman. I mean, man, were they fun to watch, especially against Stone Cold. Just amazing. And then he went back to WCW early '98, and then pretty much that was it. And then he came back on the 15th anniversary of Raw, participated in a Battle Royal, made it to the Final 5, and then he briefly appeared in TNA against Jay Lethal. And, of course, the championships and accomplishments, an NWA Southern Heavyweight Champion, Florida version. Same with the U.S. tag titles. He held that with Crusher Khrushchev. Inducted into the Legends Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2011. A Memphis Championship Wrestling Southern Tag Team Champion with the Blue Manie. A Mid-Eastern Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion. A Mid-South Tag Team Champion with the Natural Butch Reed. Inducted into the New England Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2014. Professional Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Champion. PWI ranked him number 61 of the top 500 singles wrestlers in the PWI 500 in '94. Number 189 of the 500 singles wrestlers in the PWI years in '03. And then the top 100 tag teams of the year, him and Bret came in at number 37. Pro Wrestling Ohio Tag Team Champion with Greg the Hammer Valentine. Stampede International Tag Team Champion 2 times with 2 different partners, Hercules Ayala and Mr. Hito. Also inducted into the Stampede Wrestling Hall of Fame. Universal Wrestling Alliance Heavyweight Champion. Of course, 2-time WWF Tag Team Champion with Bret Hart as part of the Hart Foundation. Wrestling Observer Newsletter, Feud of the Year in '97 with the Hart Foundation against Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then a double inductee into the Canadian Wrestling Hall of Fame, once as an individual and the other with the Hart family. My thoughts and prayers go out to the entire family. His wife, Ellie, Natalia, the other 2 daughters, Jenny and Muffy, and of course the Hart family. Of course Bret the Hitman, his longtime partner, and you think about it, with that new Hart Foundation that was formed in '97, Bret the Hitman Hart is now the only surviving member of that stable. Brian Pillman had passed away because of a heart attack in October of '97. Of course, we know what happened to Owen in '99. Don't need to get into that. And then May of '02, the British Bulldog, he passed away from a heart attack. And now, all these years later, Jim the Anvil, with that fall in his home, passing away this morning. Like I said, this one's very, very close to home for me because of my never-ending love for the Hart family. And it's a bitter pill for me to swallow, but these things do happen, and we want to wish all the best to the entire family, to his friends, his colleagues, everybody, on behalf of all of us here at the Wrestling Forum, Ridiculously Raw, Cerebral Smack Talk, what have you. So it's gonna be hard to get through this show tonight, even though for the first time in a very long time, Raw actually delivered a good show, which I can't believe I'm saying, but it's true. So, really nothing more to say on this. I'm heartbroken. So it's needless to say that I'm going to be doing the show with a very heavy heart this evening, and of course, um, we're going to dedicate this show to the memory of Jim the Anvil Neidhart here this evening. So this one's for you, Anvil. That's all there is to say on that. Rest in peace, my friend. And we thank you for everything you did for the business, and you made our childhood just a little bit more fun for all three of us, especially with Brett and the Hart Foundation. So Godspeed, my friend. So nothing more to say. MF, good old MF, Michael Fletcher, come on in. I mean, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. This came out of nowhere. Derek reported it. 63 years old. Another loss and more ongoing hard times for the Hart family. What a shame.
Yeah, and when I woke up this morning, I actually got 2 posts from 2 colleagues of mine from the 2184 crew, Richard Lopes and Jeff Monty, both texted me the report that the Anvil had passed away. I instantly went into digging, finding out what had happened, and of all places, TMZ had the report of his death and the circumstances of his death. It's a tragic story, man. There's no way around it. Supposedly now this is kind of insider knowledge that I'm getting is that Jim the Anvil Neidhart was actually his health had declined within the last few days, actually in the last month or so, that he was actually suffering early stages of dementia. And that was actually a contributing factor to the death. Basically, he suffered a seizure, fell, like you said, Anthony, knocked his head, suffered what it looks like massive convulsions and everything else. And around 6:30 this morning, according to the dispatch, who was there, around 6:50, which is about 20 minutes or so later, they called a signal 7. Basically, for all you EMTs or medical, basically, if you're a signal 7, you're pronounced dead. You're gone. So at 6:50, 6:51 this morning. Now this is this is a published report from TMZ. They're reporting that he had died around 6:50, 6:51 early this morning. So take it with a grain of salt, but TMZ's been very reliable when it comes to any type of reporting nowadays. Back then, we would probably say wait for something, another report, another media outlet. If it's coming from TMZ, they are very spot on. They are almost as accurate as they can be. They were the first to report the death of Michael Jackson, and they were spot on with when he passed away. They were the first to talk about Joan Rivers passing away. They were the first to report the accidental overdose of Demi Lovato from a few weeks ago. So they were the first to jump on this report about Jim the Anvil Neidhart. So they are very, very, very accurate with their reporting. So there is no fake news or no BS coming from TMZ. If they're saying that this happened, you can probably say at least 90-95% of what they report is accurate. So there's a lot more credibility I get with TMZ now than I did back in the day. And obviously, Dave Meltzer confirmed it. Brian Alvarez confirmed it. Some other guys that I believe in or I trust in the wrestling business confirmed that reporting as well. Yes, Derek also did. He was the first out of our crew to report it. So obviously, if it's from Ferreira, it's top notch reporting. We ain't got no slackers on our end. We verify. We keep it very close to the vest. More than anything else, we double and triple check our news reporting more than anything else. So yes, it's a sad day. Not just for us, for the wrestling business, but also for the Hart family. It definitely was sudden. It was shocking. It took us all by surprise because we didn't hear nothing bad about Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Yeah, he had a little bit some issues a few years ago, with alcohol and with alcoholism and everything else. But as far as Neidhart and his health, relatively, this was really the first major thing that we heard. And like I said, it just caught us all by surprise today. So, obviously, our thoughts and prayers are with, Jim's family, especially Natalia, TJ, her husband. She was supposed to fought tonight in Greensboro. Obviously, she took the flight back to Tampa to be with the family. I'm probably gonna say don't expect her to be at SummerSlam on Sunday night. At the Barclays in Brooklyn. I would be stunned if we see Natalia there on Sunday night. I'm pretty much gonna say she's out for that show, and quite frankly, I would not expect her to be back the next night on Monday Night Raw. I probably say the week after is probably when we'll see her again. I don't know what it was gonna be. There was rumors that this would have been the night where she was gonna turn on Ronda Rousey. That was the rumors going around, that Alexa Bliss was going to successfully defend the Raw Women's title, and it was gonna be because Natalia was gonna betray Ronda Rousey at the Barclays as a major swerve for the show at SummerSlam on Sunday night. Now I kind of have a feeling they are going to definitely go a different direction. We'll see what happens, but that was the rumor going around, that Alexa was going to successfully defend the title. But now with this happening, I don't know what the course of action is going to be for WWE, for obviously what's going to happen with the Raw Women's title now. Everything is all up in the air now. So we will definitely wait and see on at least on that front. But like you said, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, obviously a mainstay of the WWE, WWF days. But he did wrestle a little bit in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He was in the tag team tournament, the super tag tournament. He was even in the G1 Climax tournament way back when. He was eliminated in the first round there in the tag tournament. Did not end up with any points in that. Then wrestled in the at the end of the year, a battle royale in December. Obviously didn't win that. Had a one night fight with the Sandman in the old ECW arena in the November to Dismember event, and that fight actually ended in a no contest. So he had that. So he has definitely wrestled all over the world, but most notably in WWE. As a former tag team champion with Bret the Hitman Hart, 2-time tag team champion. Not much in the way of single success for Jim the Anvil Neidhart. However, the Hart Foundation is without a doubt one of the most recognizable stables in professional wrestling. And I thought about this. I thought about this earlier in the day while I was working, and I talked to a couple of the guys about it, and some of them were definitely on board with this. I know Martha has been very hesitant about Owen going into the Hall of Fame. And, that's her decision. That's her prerogative. That's her, her right for Owen not to be admitted. However, based off the body of work of Jim the Anvil Neidhart, based off the body of work of the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith, Owen's body of work, and yes, maybe not the success that he had in WWE, but the success that he had in WCW. I would, now, hear me out. What would you guys say about the Hart Foundation being the second stable ever to go into the WWE Hall of Fame? Bret would be the second man ever to have an individual and a stable go into the Hall of Fame, just like Ric Flair did with the Four Horsemen, and the Horsemen is the only stable that has done it. I think the Hart Foundation deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. My thoughts. What says you guys? I open it.
I agree.
Yeah, same here.
So, I think that would be the best way to do it. Because, unfortunately, I know the Anvil's body of work, at least for WWE, probably is not Hall of Fame worthiness. However, what he did as a member of the Hart Foundation and just the legacy itself definitely calls for the Hall of Fame to be inducted, at least in my mind. I don't know if it will ever happen because, again, there's a lot of legal stuff that would have to be rectified, especially on Owen's part. But let's be realistic. Davey Boy Smith, there's been a petition for him to be into the Hall of Fame for the last, I want to say, 4 or 5 years now. And the body of work is there that Davey Boy Smith deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, at least in my mind. European champion, former Intercontinental champion, and plus his success that he had with the British Bulldogs, and you could even say the modest success he had with the Allied Powers with Lex Luger. So obviously, plus with the success that he had with Owen. So I would think Davey Boy Smith is definitely Hall of Fame worthiness. Now, as far as Brian Pillman, this is a harder case this is definitely a harder case for me and I know a lot of people are going to say, how does Brian Pillman get the success? Or where do you add him in to the Hall of Fame conversation? You could even omit him and leave him out, and I would not be too angry about that. I don't think a lot of people would say Pillman is not Hall of Fame worthiness. And I would tell you, okay, yeah, absolutely right. If you don't add Brian Pillman into the Hart Foundation as a part of the Hall of Fame, then I don't have a problem with that. I probably think that there would be no argument. But Bret, Bulldog, Owen, and Neidhart definitely deserve as part of the True Hart Foundation. Pillman was kind of a last-minute guy, just to be added in. But those 4 are not. That's true Hart Foundation. That's true family right there, guys. And they all deserve it. Obviously, my thoughts and prayers are with the Hart family, especially with the Neidhart family. Nothing more to say, Didi. I'll just give it to you so that you can have a quick thought.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot more to say because I think you guys touched a lot of it. But for me, the biggest memories I always had was, him and Bret together in the Hart Foundation with Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart, and all the crazy stuff that they would do. But yeah, I definitely agree. I think they should, if not, induct the whole stable, at least induct the tag team of him and Brett. I mean, there's just so much history there. For those who do follow like the Divas show, he was on there several times with Natty, and you could see there was something not quite right, but they never really went into what was going on with him. So a lot of us that have watched the show knew that there was medical problems, but we just didn't know what the medical problems were. So yeah, this is still kind of a shock to see that that he's gone. And I'll repeat what Anthony said at the beginning of the show, that all of us here at the Wrestling Forum, send our hearts, our prayers, and our thoughts to the Hart family, the Neihart family, and everybody that's close to Jim and Natty. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Let's go ahead and get into the show,
which was for once an actual good show. I mean, not the greatest, but it was actually, one of the better efforts they've had in a while. Monday Night Raw live tonight. Of course, this is the big one. This is the go-home show for SummerSlam. It was live tonight from one of the greatest wrestling venues of all time, the legendary Greensboro Coliseum in Greensboro, North Carolina, a venue that I know MF holds near and dear to his heart because of all those memorable ACC men's basketball tournaments in the 90s and 2000s and whatnot. But it hosted, and of course, it was also the home of the very first Starrcade in 1983. And history was made on this show tonight, because for the first time ever, we had a female sitting in on commentary, Renee Young. She sat in for Jonathan Coachman on assignment. She sat in with Michael Cole and Corey Graves on the stage announce table. Thought she did a wonderful job this evening. Of course, it's also known that she will be working the Mae Young Classic along with Michael Cole and WWE Hall of Famer Beth Phoenix. So that's something to look forward to next month when the Mae Young Classic kicks off. I mean, I know they've been taping all the matches already. That airs September 5th, by the way. So we actually start the show. Yes, it was a promo segment, but it was not Roman Reigns. It was not Kurt Angle. It was not your usual suspects. No, it was the rowdy one. It was Ronda Rousey. And Ronda Rousey, she paid her respects to Jim the Anvil Neidhart. She addressed his passing and wished her friend Natalya the best, as we all do. And then she brought out Ember Moon, because they were getting ready to have Ember Moon go up against Alexa Bliss. But then Alexa Bliss came out, cut what I thought was a fantastic heel promo. And, said she had hired her a security team to with the approval of Constable Baron Corbin, please. Of course, we all know they were Gestapo security guards as usual. And Ronda raised hell, and that's all there is to it. So, and then it led into the match, Alexa Bliss against Ember Moon. Ember Moon won the matchup, 12 minutes, 20 seconds via a disqualification. I'll tell you, I mean, for me, the segment, I would say third best segment of the night. I mean, there were two other segments that were really well done tonight. And that's one of the reasons, and both of those segments were the reason why this Raw, for the first time in forever, was actually a halfway decent show this evening. But this match here, I mean, Moon and Bliss, I mean, I'm going to give this about 3 to 3.25. I mean, I was going to give it about 3.5, but the DQ finish, I mean, you know how much we frown upon DQ finishes. We poo-poo all over them. But it was a solid match with Ember Moon looking good again. And you actually had some solid setup for the big match on Sunday night with Ronda Rousey and Alexa Bliss, which I do believe is the only matchup on the Raw side of the SummerSlam card that's a fresh matchup. I mean, all the other matches, I mean, they've been done to death. Well, maybe not one, but we'll address that elephant in the room later. But nonetheless, I mean, this was a fine match. I probably would say one of my top 3 fights of the night, because there were 2 other matches that were actually just as good as this one. One of them, you're not even going to believe what I have to say about it. It was such a surprise to see how good that match ended up being. But nonetheless, this is one of my top 3 fights of the night. I'm going to give this, like I said, 3 to 3 1/4. It would have been higher if not for the DQ finish, but I can see why they did it. You know, you obviously want to give Ronda momentum, but at the same time, you want to protect Alexa. So level playing field going in. But we'll address that in our preview show later this week. So, of course, I got Derek Ferreira has officially announced the date of that. We'll get into that at the end of the show. So there's really nothing more to say on this. 3 to 3 1/4 stars. 3rd best fight of the night. MF, I mean, segment was the 3rd best. Well, actually, both of these were 3rd best, the segment and the match, because 2 other matches and segments were so great. And this Raw for the first time in forever. Wow, I can't believe it. Good show.
Solid show. Yeah, solid performance by everybody on Monday Night Raw tonight. You know what? And you know why? Because it's the go-home show. This is the last event you got before SummerSlam. The last event before Sunday night at the Barclays. Obviously, you needed to get the momentum. You needed something for the night. Yo, props to Raw. They finally got their heads out of their you-know-whats. They finally probably got tired of, getting the meows by Tiger and Callie, or them hissing at them. They finally fed the monkey writers the bananas so that they could actually have the muscle and brain power to put a good show tonight. So obviously tonight was a good night for Team Red. I'll give you the applause. Congratulations. But as far as this goes, first off, for Ronda Rousey to do that, that's amazing. Major props for her to show the love to Natalya, because there is a genuine friendship between Natalya and Ronda outside of WWE that people may know about. So for her to do that, the classy move on Ronda Rousey's part, and thank you WWE for at least letting Ronda have a moment before they get into the business. Let her have a moment, show her love publicly, for Natalya to know that she's there for her, give her the warm support and everything else. Because if you notice, during some of the videos after her fight at WrestleMania, who was one of the first ones there to congratulate her? Natalya. And the Bella twins. Of course, now people would talk about, the Bellas, but no. The Bellas were legit. They were being very real about what they were doing. So, no, props to Ronda for showing the love to Natalya. And like we said, we are thinking about Natty as well, in this difficult time right now. We're also thinking about her as well. And the way that they did it, that was actually nicely done. The match was good. Amber is a future contender for the Raw Women's title. Obviously, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens on Sunday night. Sunday night's gonna be a very telling situation. If Ronda somehow does not walk out of the Raw of SummerSlam with the Raw Women's title, Ember Moon is definitely the next in line in my mind. She is the next in line, and who knows, maybe she's the one to knock off Alexa Bliss and take the Raw Women's title. You don't know. There's a lot of scenarios how this can break down, but for me, this was solid. This was well done. 3 stars is my rating. And Didi, I give it to you, love.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with 3 stars. It was a very good match. Even with the clunky DQ finish, which was kind of understandable. Will you hush? She's cranky tonight. I don't know why, but Callie's cranky tonight. So, anyway, the segment was good. Really enjoyed Ronda coming out, starting the segment, giving her her take on Amble's passing and the respect she has for Natty and Jim. Introducing Ember Moon to be the opponent tonight for Alexa Bliss, and then of course Alexa and Foxy coming out with whatever the heck Foxy had on her head, and all the freaking bodyguards. We all know, how we all feel about Corbin and his decisions, and this definitely was not a smart one, as we all saw pretty much Ronda take out at least 3 of the 4 guys. The 4th one just kind of chickened out, kind of like Corbin did that one night to Lesnar. Yeah, that sounds about right. Corbin hires a bunch of idiots who are about as bad as he is. Anyway, yeah, I will agree. It's like the second or the third best of the segments and the match. But I am very impressed with the Raw girls, at least in this match. So, not much more I have to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
Alrighty, let's move on. Well, we do have, of course, what's ridiculously raw without cutouts, but believe it or not, we don't have as many as we usually do. We usually average about 5 or 6 of these. I think we only had like 3 of these here tonight. Here was one of them. A Constable Baron Corbin against Tyler Breeze. Constable Corbin wins it in 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Yeah, that was not good. If it was supposed to showcase Corbin, it did not do a good job. That was a 1-star bout, if I'm going to be honest. And then, but the next match, this is definitely worth getting into. Constable Baron Corbin abusing his authority. He was going to have Finn Balor compete in a 2-on-1 handicap match against Kevin Owens and Jinder Mahal. But then general manager Kurt Angle comes out and says, it's not going down like that. I can't change the match, but I can damn sure add to it. This is not going to be a handicap match. This is going to be a tag team match. And Finn Balor's partner is going to be none other than Mr. Monster in the Bank himself, the monster among men, Braun Strowman. Winners of the match in 13 minutes and 50 seconds. Braun Strowman, Finn Balor, MF. I mean, what do you say? Fight of the night here?
I gotta say, fight of the night. This is at least 3.5 stars. I thought this was a very good match. The interactions of everybody involved, this was nice to work with. Obviously, Constable Baron Corbin trying to stack the deck on the Demon King himself, Finn Balor. Total backfire on him, because when you got the monster in the bank, Mr. Braun Strowman, when he shows up, man, he's a game changer wherever he goes. It doesn't matter if if he's a game changer when it came to any type of regular match, Money in the Bank or Monster in the Bank, or even when he was in the Mixed Match Challenge, because he was a difference maker. That's why Alexa loved him so much for being that difference maker in the whole shebang. So whatever the case may be, it is what it is. I enjoy it. So, but it's a good way to plug the SummerSlam fight, because remember, Kevin Owens versus Braun Strowman, Money in the Bank contract on the line on Sunday night as well. And as far as Balor goes, I mean, yeah, that good old Balor boy, he's got to deal with a Constable, but he's been getting pushed to the limit lately, man. He's been pushing to the edge. Constable better watch himself, man. You don't wanna trigger the Demon. He might be triggering him. That's the wrong thing you want to do. That's the last person you want to have come at you. The Demon King? Are you kidding me? You remember the last time he showed up? Yeah. It didn't end well for anybody. don't push Balor there. Don't do it. That's the last thing you want, Constable. Trust me, you're gonna end up under the Brooklyn Bridge in Brooklyn at the Barclays on Sunday night. I know where that is. I've been to New York. My family is originally from New York City. We're originally from Brooklyn, New York. So don't. I know all the layouts. I know how that city runs. You don't want to mess with that, man. Down at Atlantic Avenue, that's where the Barclays is. Get ready, guys. It's going to be nuts on Sunday night. Nothing more to say, DD Woodson. It's yours.
Hey, if that happens, that we get the Demon out against Corbin, you'll be hearing me say, take my money, because that would be awesome. I mean, Demon, Balor himself is one of my favorites, and Demon obviously almost fits my alternate personality that I think Fletch knows pretty well. But yeah, Corbin is definitely pushing the buttons. He made himself the easy, laid-back match with Breeze, and then stacked the card against Balor. And of course, Angle's not going to sit back and let that happen. He can't erase the match. He can't, call it off. Well, he'll just make it one giant piece better by bringing out Strowman, which using Sting as a battering ram for Kevin Owens. Hey, that was pretty cool. I like that. Seeing Kevin Owens do backflips because of Strowman. Hey, that's pretty cool. That kind of makes Raw or pay-per-views or something just a little bit more pleasant to see how. I'm doing this as a compliment. I know it didn't sound that way, but seeing Kevin Owens that flexible and able to do it, being that big of a guy doing a backflip, I mean, it's amazing, because you don't see a lot of big men able to do that kind of stuff. So I always sound like I'm really harsh on him because of Strowman going around clotheslining him, running around the rings and everything, but at the same time, I've got that little bit of respect for him because he's able to do certain moves that most big men can't do, and that just shows you right there the type of wrestler he is. So, and we all know none of us have much respect for Jinder Mahal because he doesn't exactly know what he's doing out there. And he certainly cannot win without his little sidekick, or when the other one's around, two sidekicks with him. So it's still a really good match. Definitely agree with the rating. So not much more I'm going to say. Florio, I toss it to you.
All right, let's see what else we have here. Yeah, that was an amazing match. I mean, wow. That definitely was, to me, the fight of the night. 3 to 3.5. Braun Strowman. I mean, did you hear that crowd? That crowd was hot for Braun Strowman tonight. He was wildly over. He got some revenge on Jinder for his quote unquote recent losses, and also got a bit of punishment in on Owens. An overall fun and good little match that advanced some build to SummerSlam. So, yeah, well done there. I loved it. And then from there, okay, this is the second cutout here. We had some clown in the ring by the name of Ricky Roberts, dressed as some rodeo clown cowboy. Please. Proclaims his love for Elias, and Elias shows up, interrupts him, and goes to do his shtick, and then Bobby Lashley show up, and yeah, that was That was not good at all. I mean, everybody involved. That was one of those go away X-Pac Heat segments. That feud is bad, and whoever wrote it should feel bad. I mean, I thought I hated Lashley's feud with Sami Zayn, but this is just as bad, if not worse. So, please get the you-know-what out of here with that stuff. And then we move on. Okay. You would think this would be a cutout here, considering the talent involved. But this was a triple threat match for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Champions, the B Team, defending the titles against challengers and former champions Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy, and also the Revival. Winners of the match in 10 minutes and 33 seconds, and still your Raw Tag Team Champions, the B Team. The Revival hits the Shatter Machine, but Curtis Axel was the legal man. He threw the Revival out of the ring and then picked up the scraps, covers Bray Wyatt for the 1-2-3. B Team retained the titles. Didi Woodson, color me surprised. I mean, we thought this was going to suck because of the fact of the talent involved, but they put on a good match? Wow.
They actually did. Yeah, it was very surprising. I'm not always a fan of triple threat tag team matches because you have one team that, seems like they never get tagged. They have to force the tag to get involved. And of course, we saw that tonight. But this ended up being a very good match. And, not entirely surprised with the ending because, they're wanting to make the B Team look really, really good going into SummerSlam. But still, I mean, the way, we've had at least two of these teams packaged almost as jokes, I guess you could say. You get them together with the Revival, and I mean, it was a very well worked out, well produced match. They were right on with each other. They seemed to know exactly where to go. Nobody seemed to have gotten lost. I mean, like I said, it was very surprising. I'm going to give it 3 stars, which is very surprising to say that about a triple threat tag team match. But hey, it is what it is. So yeah, not too much more I'm going to say about it. But I do want to know if you all have seen I guess it's a Twitter post from, I think it's Wrestling Observer, saying that Matt Hardy said goodbye to Bray Wyatt, so that team may be dissolving. So,
well, that's news to me.
I'll have to see if I can find it because I saw it earlier. So if I find it, I'll put it in chat box.
All right, I'm on search right now. Just give me a couple of minutes.
All right.
Yeah. So
I'll toss it to you while he's searching.
Yeah, I'll definitely take this for a spin. Sleeper fight of the night, second best fight of the night. This to me is another 3 to 3.25 star match. I mean, this was good and much better than expected. They worked hard, and I like that the B Team didn't sneak into a comedy win as this time. It came off as Curtis Axel thinking on his feet, a la, the Rated R Superstar Edge, Ultimate Opportunist. I'm glad he was thinking on his feet instead of just dumb luck, which, so many of the B Team's wins have been dumb luck, but this was not. I mean, this was smart wrestling on the part of Curtis Axel. The B Team goes over to successfully defend the Raw Tag Team Championships. They're not out of the woods yet because it was announced that this Sunday night, and I believe this is going to be on the SummerSlam kickoff show, the B Team will be defending the Raw Tag Team Championship against the Revival. The Revival getting another opportunity at the Raw Tag Team Championship. I guess that kind of makes sense because of the fact that they were not pinned in that triple threat match. So I guess General Manager Kurt Angle is awarding is rewarding the Revival with another opportunity at the Raw Tag Team Championship. So let's see what happens this time. I mean, it's going to be one of 3 kickoff matches on the SummerSlam kickoff show. It was also announced that from SmackDown Live, I know MF and I are going to be very interested in this. A mixed tag team matchup, Rusev and Lana squaring off against Andrade Cien Almas and Zelina Vega. And the third match, I'll address later on because it's part of my Tony's take. I think you might know where I'm going with that, so I'm going to park that there. I'll be sure to address that as part of my 205 Live review in just a short. Okay, I see it there. Okay, so all right, we'll definitely get into that. I see the stuff there. I see it now. From WrestlingNews.co. That's one of the great dirt sheets out there. So so we'll just park that there. So read into that what you will. So really nothing more to say on this. I mean, 3 to 3.25 stars. To me, second best fight of the night. Just a smidgen better than Alexa and Ember's matchup. So, and not only that, but also the sleeper fight in the night. So looks like the Leaders of Worlds are no more. So we'll see what happens with that. See how that impacts the tag team division going forward. But don't forget, B Team and Revival, SummerSlam kickoff show for the Raw Tag Team Championship. What do you say to that, MF? Unbelievable. Surprise fight of the night. You would think this was going to suck, but oh no. They
yeah, no, it delivered. No, it delivered and then some. Unbelievable outcome, unbelievable everything. Yes, absolutely. You know, you gotta give a lot of credit where credit's due. You know, sometimes you got those moments, the teams, you know, have those great things happening, and it does happen. So no, props to what props to WWE for doing what they do. And you know, I got really nothing else to say about it. So no, well done, and yeah, let's just move on. So I guess there's really nothing else to say. You pretty much said what you said. So good job.
Yeah, did you give you a star rating for the match, MF?
3.5 stars.
All right. Now we move on to another amazing segment. You can make an argument that this was the segment of the night here. Yes, it's Roman Reigns cutting another promo about Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, but he was interrupted by Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman was basically trying to, because we saw what happened on the show recently where Brock Lesnar laid out Brock Lesnar, laid out Kurt Angle and then scared off Constable Corbin and then we thought he, quote unquote, turned on Paul Heyman. Well, it looked like that. And Paul Heyman was basically trying to recruit Roman Reigns into being a Paul Heyman guy. Roman wasn't having it. Paul Heyman gave Roman some, I don't know if it was like a contract or a letter or some sort of document. But then all of a sudden, Paul Heyman sprays mace or pepper spray into the face of Roman Reigns. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Brock Lesnar actually shows up. And then Brock Lesnar goes to town on Roman Reigns, beats the snot out of him, puts him to sleep, and then you think he's going to leave, but then nope, he comes back and then lays him out with an F5. So, oh my Lord. Wow. I probably would say that you can make an argument that this was the segment of the night. Of course, there's another segment that was just as amazing. I mean, this was an amazing segment. I mean, up until that point on the show, this was the best thing on the show. Heyman killed it again on the mic. You know how great he is. And then you follow it up by a fun and surprise beatdown by Brock Lesnar ahead of the match on Sunday night. I mean, wow. I mean, color me surprised. I mean, I didn't know what to think going into this. I mean, the program guide on my dish said that Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, and Ronda Rousey would all be there. I mean, Yes, Ronda was there. Roman was there. I had my doubts about Lesnar, but I kind of should have figured Lesnar was going to be there, on account of this is the go home show. And yep, he was there and laid out Roman Reigns. It turned out it was one of those Vince Russo quote unquote swerves, if you will. So yeah, this was brilliantly done though. I mean, this is how you sell the match right here. I mean, I know there's a lot of people out there that are still gonna poo-poo all over this. I understand that, and I get it. But for me, based on the last couple of weeks, and especially tonight, my excitement level's actually gone up a little bit. So I'm just hopeful, but I am hoping that at the end of SummerSlam, we come out of it. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's Roman Reigns. I don't care if it's Braun Strowman. Hell, I wouldn't even care if it was Kevin Owens for a second time. I wouldn't care. I just want a full-time Universal Champion on Monday Night Raw. Period. And the statement and the quotation, segment of the night, MF, wow. Unbelievable.
As good as it could have gotten. I mean, yeah, you had to promote the main event. You have to promote the WWE Universal title. They did it. They did it and then some. I mean, they left me wanting to watch this title fight. And let me tell you, I've been one of the hardest sellers on that. And you know how bad I'm not liking the WWE or Raw or the Universal title or the build up or anything else. But I got to admit, the way they played this tonight, tremendous job. And I got really nothing bad to say. They did a great job with this. I am very, very, very impressed with what they've done. So yeah, well done, Monday Night Raw. You piqued my interest enough that I want to see the fight. I'm not gonna do the infamous "shut up and take my money." You didn't do that for me, but at least you got me from basically taking a bathroom break or even completely missing this fight altogether to me now wanting to, sit there and watch this fight. Now I want to see Roman versus Brock, and let's see how this plays out. So no, well done, guys. Congratulations. Nothing more to say. Didi, it's yours.
Yeah, this was a very good segment. For me, I think the other segment later on coming up was a little bit better than this one, but that's just my personal opinion. This one was still very good. Yeah, Heyman pretty much pulled the wool over our eyes, trying to make everyone think that him and Lesnar were on the outs, which clearly, if they were, they worked it out over the week, or as most all of us suspect, was just a ruse to begin with and an elaborate scheme just to get into Roman's head on the go home show. But yeah, this was a very well done segment. Hats off to Raw. We're getting better on the segments and the writing and storyline progression that we've all said SmackDown has it nailed. Well, I guess SmackDown lent some writers to Raw because they actually kind of nailed with the segments and even some of the backstage segment stuff. They pretty much kind of nailed it tonight. So hey, not much more I'm going to say about it. Let's move on.
Alrighty. Then we have, I believe this should be our final cutout of the evening, a randomly thrown together 6-man tag team match. Mojo Rawley and the Authors of Pain against Titus Worldwide and Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode and Titus Worldwide pick up the win in 2 minutes and 40 seconds. A glorious DDT by Bobby Roode on Mojo Rawley. Far and away the worst fight of the night. Absolute filler. No further comment, rather. So let's move on to another solid match here on this Raw tonight. Sasha Banks one-on-one with the returning Ruby Riott. Ruby Riott picks up the win, 8 minutes and 58 seconds. I believe it's MF who starts off on this one. And, well, MF, I mean, maybe not the best match, but, I felt this was another solid match on this show here tonight. I mean, Ruby Riott, first match back after injury, picks up a big win against the former 4-time women's champion and the Boss.
Yes, solid fight. This is at least 2.25 stars. I'll give you that. I thought this was good, not great, but it was solid for what it was worth. And yeah, Ruby Riott looked good in her return. And now the sky's the limit for her. We're gonna have to wait and see what happens. Obviously, you want to give her some momentum, being the leader of the Riott Squad. How is that going to play out? We'll find out. But it was good for what it was worth. I liked what I saw, so nothing more to say. This is about a 2-star fight, and Didi, I give it to you.
Yeah, I'll agree. It's about a 2-star match. I have to admit, the two girls actually looked pretty good tonight, and hats off. We didn't have a lot of shenanigans going on during this match. It stayed pretty much one-on-one, just as it should. Definitely showcased, that Ruby, even with the few weeks she had off nursing the injury, that she hasn't lost a single touch. She's right in there, right where she's supposed to be, and also kind of continues the little feud we've had between these 5 ladies. Well, originally the 4, and now we've got Ruby back, so that makes it 5. So yeah, it's definitely continuing that storyline, which will probably continue on even past SummerSlam. So not too much more I'm going to say about it. So Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, solid 2-star match. I mean, it was an okay fight, but they were kind of concerned with the others at ringside instead of focusing on the match. But, solid for what it was worth. So, not going to get too much more into it. So, the main event segment of the evening, the contract signing for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match at SummerSlam. General Manager Kurt Angle presiding. He was addressing the situation with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman's attack on Roman Reigns. And then he was interrupted by the Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion Dolph Ziggler and his cornerman Drew McIntyre. They were playing up that Seth Rollins was having travel issues because he was just getting back from China on a PR tour. Seth Rollins does eventually show up, but he says, "I've actually been here. I wasn't the one having travel issues. My corner man was having travel issues." Now, there was a clause put in the contract, I guess maybe by Kurt Angle or somebody, that seeing that Drew McIntyre was going to be in Dolph Ziggler's corner, that Seth Rollins was going to be allowed to have someone in his corner as well to even the odds. I thought we were going to wait until SummerSlam to reveal this, but no, we got it tonight. And what a way to close out the show with a big surprise. In the corner of Seth Rollins, it's going to be none other than, he's back, the lunatic fringe, Dean Ambrose. And then, of course, all hell breaks loose. Of course, as Bullock and I would say during contract signings, they never end well. This one didn't end well. For Dolph and Drew, that is. I mean, oh my goodness. So, Didi Woodson, he's back. The lunatic is back. Oh boy.
Oh yeah, which made this even more of a historical night, especially for Renee, seeing as not only this was her first night for being on there for all 3 hours as a commentator for Raw, but watching her husband return from an injury. I mean, that, if you were in her shoes, I mean, that would be something it would be really amazing, because if you notice, she really didn't say anything during that final segment. You only heard the guys talking. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was brilliant that Seth waited until after Dolph had signed the contract to finally come out, make his appearance, bring out his buddy, and even the playing field. Because what's better than having, Drew McIntyre than having the lunatic in your corner? I mean, yeah, and him sporting the new hairdo. That he looked good. It was good to see him back. For me, like I said, this one to me was more of the segment of the night because of just how they worked it, how the storyline was worked through. I mean, yeah, Heyman's great. Their little Rouge, that's good. But this one, I think, in my opinion, was a lot better because of the way it was worked out. Because here you had Dolph spouting all his garbage and everything, and just saying, that he knew that Seth wasn't going to be there and all this kind of stuff. And, let's sign it. Let's make this, a forfeit right here and now. And then having right as soon as he hands it back to Kurt Angle, that music hit. I mean, it was just awesome. So, not too much more I'm going to say about it. I'm going to toss it over to Florio.
You make a great point, Didi. I mean, I could probably call for co-segment of the night, with the Roman segment with Heyman and Lesnar and this segment as well. I mean, we haven't seen Dean Ambrose since all the way back last December when MF Bullock and I went to the Monday Night Raw here in Providence. I mean, that's the last time we saw Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose, they did an injury angle. And that was pretty much the story there. And we have not seen him since. I mean, great to have him back. And Didi, you made a great point about Renee Young. I mean, Renee Young, she didn't say much. A few seconds after Ambrose's music hit and the crowd popped big, obviously, you could hear an announcer headset being like maybe tossed to the side. And I think that's what it had to be Renee Young. I mean, I don't think it was Cole. I don't think it was Graves. It had to be Renee Young throwing down her headset in excitement, knowing that her husband, the Lunatic Fringe, is finally medically cleared and he will now be in Seth Rollins' corner to even the odds against Dolph Ziggler and Drew McIntyre. I mean, Didi made a great point. I mean, you can make an argument for this to be the segment of the night. I mean, this was a very good segment to close the show. Hyping this Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match and Seth finally getting some backup in the returning Dean Ambrose. Ambrose, he looks great. He's in better shape and with a slight makeover, which is a great call. And it's very good to see him back. I mean, I think him being out definitely hindered the Raw roster. But I think with him back now, it's definitely a step in the right direction. It's definitely we've needed a shot in the arm for a while, and we finally got that shot in the arm with the Lunatic coming back. There is one thing I'm hoping. I'm hoping that that Dean and Drew will not factor much into what will be unquestionably far and away the best match on the Raw side of the SummerSlam cards. So, yeah. So, very well done. That's how you close out a go-home show. That's how you sell an Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship match. So, like I said, I'm just hoping that Dean and Drew will not be too much of a factor because we know Seth and Dolph. We know the history of Rollins and Ziggler. They've given us instant classics over the years, and I'm hopeful that this one will end up being an instant classic and will hopefully give Raw a shot in the arm on Sunday night, even though SmackDown has the more stacked card. I'm not going to lie. So, well done. Well done. That's all I can say on that. So, MF, your boy, Dean Ambrose, he's back. What do you think?
Clear the room, hide the people. A lunatic has just been released. What the hell, Team Red? But it's awesome. it's awesome he's back. You know, like we said, the last time we saw him was we were there in Providence the night he got hurt. And the thing was, I kind of noticed it. And if you remember, Mike Bullock and Bullock will say, something wasn't right. And when I looked at it, if you remember, Florio, wasn't it I who brought it up? You know,
it's definitely one of you two. It wasn't me. It was one
yeah.
of you.
I think it was either Bullock or myself, but one of us brought it up and we're like, yo, Ambrose does not look good. Something's not right. And I saw him favoring the arm, and I'm like, I think he got hurt, guys. I don't know. Something's not right. I'm not really too sure about it. And then, of course, you saw the injury angle after that, and then you're like, oh, okay, definitely something's wrong. But yeah, bad situation made worse, but he's back. That's all that matters, and he looks good. With the shorter hair, new attitude. Now there's the rumor about him possibly turning on Seth and turning heel. Well, we'll wait and see what happens, but definitely a step in the right direction and a great way to end Monday Night Raw, no doubt about it. So, Anthony, it's yours.
All right, and now we're going to get into our overall review of Monday Night Raw this evening, and I believe I start this one off. So, about damn time. You have no idea how long I've been waiting for a show like this. Was it the greatest show? No. But for the first time in a long time, we got one of the better Monday Night Raws. I can't remember the last time Raw put on a show this good. It's been like months. I mean, this is really the first time since the Superstar Shakeup that Monday Night Raw finally woke up and finally delivered a more than passable show this evening. 3 quality segments, 3 quality matches. Yeah, we still had the cutouts and whatnot, but this ended up being one of the best Monday Night Raws in recent memory. I always preach for such a time as this, and yeah, for such a time as this, for such a time as tonight. They delivered tonight and then some. Unbelievable. I mean, Greensboro, North Carolina, give it up. I mean, you don't think of Greensboro as an IWC city, but that was one jacked crowd this evening. All 3 in-ring segments delivered. The Ronda segment with Alexa Bliss, that delivered. Of course, Roman with Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar, that delivered. The main event segment with Dean Ambrose coming back, that damn sure delivered. Two surprisingly good matches on this show tonight. I mean, Braun Strowman and Finn Balor against Jinder Mahal and Kevin Owens. Who would have thought that was going to be the fight of the night? I sure as hell didn't, but it was. The Raw Tag Team Championship defied my expectations. That ended up delivering in spades. Solid 3 to 3 1/4. Ember Moon and Alexa Bliss, they had a very good match as well. 3 to 3 1/4 there. 3 cutout matches. Sasha and Ruby, good but not overly great. So for this show tonight, I think the appropriate rating for this tonight, 7 to 7.5. Far and away one of the best Monday Night Raws in recent memory. I am hopeful that next Monday night, which will be, of course, the 3rd night of the 4 nights in Brooklyn. You know, with NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 on Saturday night, SummerSlam Sunday, Raw will be there next Monday night, and then SmackDown Live will close it out next Tuesday. I mean, wow. I'm hopeful. And now that Dean Ambrose is back, that's a big time shot in the arm from Monday Night Raw, and I'm hoping that going forward we can continue to put on incredibly good shows and quality shows like we had tonight. Hopefully this is not a 1-week wonder, and I'm hoping that next week we'll have another high praise show here next week. But you know, as we sort out all the fallout from SummerSlam and start the build to Hell in a Cell. So wow, about time. MF, for the first time in a long time. All right, SmackDown Live, what do you got? How are you gonna top this? 7 to 7.5.
So a 7 or 7.5. Well, I'll give it a 7. I definitely think that uh now SmackDown Live has been put on notice, and now with Ambrose back, and the eyes are now looking a little more. Obviously SmackDown Live definitely has their work cut out, but we've been rising up to the occasion on many situations. So up to this point, it's all good. So I'm happy for you guys. You guys deserved a good week. Get some good momentum going into SummerSlam, and you guys did. So now SmackDown just has to counter, and up to this point we're already hot. We've been very hot, very good lately. So we just got to see what we do. So I'm very optimistic. I'm very excited, and no, nothing more to say. So, Didi, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with about the 7 rating. It was a very good show tonight. Like I've kind of said throughout the whole night, very storyline based. Another factor that you could kind of add in on the closing segment was all the little backstage segments with Angle, Ziggler, and McIntyre, because they were all talking about, well, Seth's not here. Let's look at the contract. Let's see what's going on. Here we got the stipulation here. I mean, just little plugs here and there, and Angle actually getting pretty concerned because all the way up to when he walks out there, and even after he walks out there, he introduces Rollins, and there's no music. No, he doesn't come out or anything. So yeah, it was a very good show. Definitely great matches. I also did find the tweet that the Wrestling News was referring to. So here is that tweet. Basically, he's saying, "Thank you for everything, my, his partner here, basically, and that he's going to miss him." Well, yeah, you would read that, and that's the first thing you would think is exactly what they're saying. It is, that the team would be breaking up. And of course, there's King Maxwell as well in the picture. Whether or not that's exactly what he meant or not entirely sure, but definitely worth looking into if that's what Matt Hardy meant or not. But yeah, I definitely agree. Very, very good show. 7-star show. I'll agree. They put SmackDown on notice. They definitely took a page out of their book. They were very storyline based tonight for a change. All the way around, pretty much. You did have a couple of kind of slow down matches off of, either a hot segment or just thrown in there because they were doing a time filler. Nice tributes, couple of tributes to Jim Neidhart. And all the building that they're doing for the Universal title, which we know, it's supposed to be the biggest title on Raw, but is not, of course, the biggest title on Raw right now. That one happens to be the one Ziggles is holding. So not too much more I have to say about it. I will definitely see you guys on the preview show. So I'm going to head out. I've got an early commitment in the morning. So see ya.
All right, good night, Didi. We'll definitely see you on our preview show. That's at the end of the week. So, yeah. So before I get into my Tony's take, let's run it down. The final card for the Monday Night Raw side of SummerSlam. Of course, on the pre-show, the kickoff show, the B Team will defend the Raw Tag Team Championship against the Revival. On the main card, we got Finn Balor against the Constable Baron Corbin, Dolph Ziggler and Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship, Braun Strowman against Kevin Owens for Braun Strowman's Money in the Bank contract, Alexa Bliss and Ronda Rousey for the Raw Women's Championship, and Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. That's your Monday Night Raw card for SummerSlam this Sunday night. So, alrighty, now let's get into our next order of business. Of course, my Tony's Take. You know how we do it: 205 Live and Impact Wrestling, and we will of course start it with Impact Wrestling with the 205 Live, rather. Excuse me. So so here we go. Started it off with a tag team match: Kalisto and Lince Dorado against Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese. Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese win the match 10 minutes and 47 seconds. 3.25 stars. A good, fun, and action-packed opener with the heels sneaking away with the win via cheating. The feud will continue. They showed good chemistry there, so I'm definitely down with more matches. Squash match of the week: Noam Dar against Sean Maluta. Noam Dar won it in 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Fine rebound win for Dar, showing that he's back on track following his recent loss and re-injury at the hands of GJP. And then in the main event, we have Mustafa Ali against Hideo Itami. Hideo Itami wins the match, 16 minutes and 17 seconds. 3.5 stars. Very good main event. Itami really digging into his vicious side and showing some glimpses of the Kenta that I know MF and many remember. The match seems to be a kickoff for a major story with Ali playing off of his recent hospital stay and his desire to compete and be the heart and soul of 205 Live. Nigel McGuinness was outstanding on commentary, bringing up the hospital stay, the fact that Ali looked a step slower than usual, and that he was unusually winded. He was accurate, informative, and most importantly, didn't hit you over the head with it for 16 minutes. He was also great as he almost accused Ali of competing with arrogance before turning to concern towards the finish when Ali got dizzy and Itami was destroying him. Great job. 2 matches announced for next week. Leo Rush will go up against Akira Tozawa tomorrow night, and Cruiserweight Champion Cedric Alexander will be in action against the gentleman Jack Gallagher. 7 out of 10 for this 205 Live. It was another good show with the Lucha House Party versus Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese really getting going. Noam Dar picked up a rebound win. 2 quality matches set for tomorrow night, and a very good main event that seems to be kicking off a major story for Mustafa Ali. Yes, Cedric Alexander will be defending the Cruiserweight Championship Sunday at SummerSlam against Drew Gulak. But unfortunately, as we all feared and we all kind of had a feeling, they got relegated to the kickoff show. I can't say I'm surprised. If I'm going to be real honest with you, I think it's a major sign of disrespect, if I'm being real honest with you. I mean, these 205 Live has been the most consistent show for the last, I want to say, 5 or 6 months. Ever since they released Enzo Amore, they brought in Rockstar Spud / Drake Maverick as general manager. They put on consistent shows every week. I think they've only had like maybe 1, maybe 2 bad shows since this whole reboot. But honestly, I think Alexander and Gulak should be on the main card. That's just my opinion. But, you know, it is what it is. So, you know, nothing I can do about it. It's not my company. So that's all I can say. But if it was, they would have been on the main card for sure. Because they damn sure deserve it. But nonetheless, 7 out of 10. Another well-done show. It continues to be the best WWE show every week. Better than NXT, better than SmackDown Live, of course, better than Raw. So we're just going to park it there. So now let's get into Impact Wrestling, which aired on my birthday, by the way. So happy birthday to me. and what a show I ended up getting. Oh boy. Started it off with a tag team match: Taiji Ishimori and Petey Williams against the Desi Hit Squad. Taiji Ishimori and Petey Williams win the match in 6.5 minutes. 3-star match. It may not have been a spectacular bout, but it was good and easily the best Desi Hit Squad match I've seen so far. I do find it a bit questionable to have the Desi Hit Squad lose to a non-regular tag team considering their push, but I'm hoping that we're going to get more of Petey and Ishimori as a tag team. They were really good here. They really were. Then we had Tessa Blanchard against Alicia Edwards, the wife of Eddie Edwards. Tessa Blanchard won the match in 6 minutes and 17 seconds. 2 3/4. Pretty good match. One of Alicia's better singles outings where she got enough to be competitive. But Tessa overcame, picked up the win, looked good. And then from there, we had another great matchup here. Matt Sydal against Pentagon Jr. Pentagon Jr. won the match in about 17 minutes. 3.25 stars. Good and fun back and forth match. They got a lot of time. It was enjoyable, but it kind of lacked the peaks and valleys in terms of drama to take it to the next level. They're capable of more. Then we had an in-ring segment with Konnan and LAX, interrupted by King and the OGs. This was fun stuff. King and Konnan were great. I'm definitely loving the angle, loving the feud. I'm going to address what we're going to see on the next show because they're going to have a huge match coming up. And then the main event of the evening, the World Heavyweight Championship on the line. Austin Aries defending against former champion Eddie Edwards. Winner and still World Heavyweight Champion Austin Aries. 17 minutes and 11 seconds. I was going to call it the fight of the night, but because of the nonsense finish, I got to give it only 3 stars. But it was still an overall good main event. The overbooking did anything to add to the match's quality. I will say that the good thing about it is that there was no definitive finish. They could revisit the match again down the road. I'm definitely all for it. These two had great chemistry, though. I don't think Austin Aries needs a bodyguard in the form of Killer Kross. He's so good on his own. But I'm definitely willing to see where it goes. So that's really all I can say on that. So 7 out of 10. Another 7 out of 10. After a couple of solid but unspectacular post-Slammiversary episodes, Impact rebounded with a good wrestling show. They advanced some angles and they set up another full slate for this upcoming show. So let's get into this. This is what's on the docket for this week. Johnny Impact against Jimmy Jacobs. Eli Drake squaring off against Joe Hendry. Ali in a non-title match against the Knockouts champion Su Yung. Austin Aries cuts a promo with Killer Kross. Phoenix against Sami Callihan. And it was also announced that we're going to have a street fight between the OGs and LAX. It's going to be a great Impact. I got a good feeling about this show again. Thursday night, 8 Eastern Pop Television. Check your local listings for the time and channel in your area. And that pretty much will put an end to this edition of Ridiculously Raw. We have one last order of business. MF, come on in, set the table for whenever the next edition of Cerebral Smack Talk is, whether it's tomorrow or Wednesday. So MF, floor is yours. Cerebral Smack Talk. Well, when are we going to do it? Tomorrow, Wednesday, what?
No, we're doing it tomorrow night, 10:30 Eastern on Braves Fan 95. Of course, SmackDown Live, the go-home show for SummerSlam. We'll go deep into that. We got a lot we got to talk about. The G1 Climax Tournament, we have a winner. We will get into that, obviously. There was one thing of Lucha Underground I forgot to talk about that I needed to clear up as it pertains to the fight at the end of the evening, basically with the Worldwide Underground versus the Reptile Tribe, because there was 2 bits and pieces that I kind of left hanging that I should have brought up last week that I did not. So I'm gonna get into that. Of course, there's some RWA news, and I got so much news outside of the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed. So we'll get into that 10:30 Eastern tomorrow night on the Cerebral Smack Talk right here on YouTube.com. So until then, that's it. I'm done for tonight. Anthony, take it home.
All right. That's good to hear, MF. I'm glad to hear that we're going to actually be on tomorrow night. That's good news to hear. You heard it tomorrow night, 10:30, Cerebral Smack Talk. You heard everything MF had to say. And a little before the show, I conferred with Derek Ferreira, and it is official. Friday night, it will not be strictly sports, because on Friday night, as expected, and I'm not surprised about this whatsoever, we will preview NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 and the biggest party of the summer, SummerSlam. That all goes down this Friday night at 10:30 in place of Strictly Sports. So no Strictly Sports this week. It's all about NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 4 and SummerSlam, as it should be. And then Sunday night, hop on over to MF's channel, Braves Fan 95, as he will have the big recap show of SummerSlam. And then, of course, next Monday night, Ridiculously Raw will sort out all the fallout on the Raw side. And I'm hopeful that we'll finally have a full-time Universal Champion and everything else. So that's it. So until tomorrow night, for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF on Brace Fan 95. It's your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, Didi Woodson, and Derek Ferreira. And of course, before we go, we definitely want to, for the final time tonight, address our top story tonight: the passing of WWE legend Jim the Anvil Neidhart, was 63 years old. And on behalf of all of us here, once again, we want to send out our thoughts and our prayers and our condolences to the Neidhart family, the Hart family, all of his friends and his legions of colleagues all around the world. And on behalf of all of us here, Anvil, thank you for the memories. Thank you for the inspiration. Most of all, thank you for Jim the Anvil Neidhart. We'll never forget that goatee, and we'll certainly never forget that infamous laugh, that ha 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 laugh that we'll never forget. So the show was for you tonight, my friend. I hope we did it justice. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, it's Anthony Florio here. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, keep it watching Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye. And rest in peace and Godspeed, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Never forget you, brother.